Monday, June 24th, 2024 at 6:02 p.m. I'm calling to order the Board of Finance for the City of Burlington. And our first item on the agenda is the agenda. Is there a motion? So moved by Councilor Carpenter to adopt the motion as presented. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilor Barlow. Is there any discussion on the agenda before we vote? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to our second agenda item is our public forum, and it is our practice to first see if folks in the room, if there's anyone here to address the Board of Finance, and then we go online. So is there anyone in the room who'd like to address the Board of Finance? Looking at me today. I think always the game, like, does anyone make eye contact? You should not. So thank you for looking at me today. But no one is indicating they're interested in public forum, at least to this body, so I'll look online. Is there anyone online who would like to address the Board of Finance tonight? You just indicate by raising your Zoom hand, if so. Okay, seeing none, I'm looking at you, former Councilor Busher, if you want to weigh in, but if not, that's fine, and we will. Oh, yes, okay, former Councilor Sharon Busher. Hi and welcome.
Thank you. I don't want to disappoint any of you.
I was very
much, I very much follow these meetings religiously, as you all know. But it's a significant night and it's a short time for you to get a lot done. So I'm just going to listen. Thank you so much.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Sharon. Well, I don't have to do a wellness check at your house between meetings. So good. Okay. Thank you for being here, as always. All right. Well, then, seeing no other public forum comments, I shall close public forum and move on to our consent agenda. Is there a motion on our consent agenda? So moved by Councilor Carpenter. Is there a second? Seconded Councilor Kane. Is there any discussion on the consent agenda before we vote? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And now on to our deliberative agenda. Item 4.1 is a resolution. This is the annual appropriation and budget for our upcoming fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2024 and ending July 30th, 2025. This is what we call the fiscal year 25 budget. And how are we gonna go about this? For Board of Finance purposes, I guess I'm looking to you, CAO Shad, if you want to help me.
I would propose that while I have a brief PowerPoint, I might not show that here. It does not have details of the budget. I'm happy if you would like it, let me know. What it does show is how the budget reflects our budget principles. I showed it at the press conference today, and I plan to show it at City Council. If you'd like it here, I can show it. Otherwise, all of the budget materials are on the website and on Civic Clerk. I think we have discussed them at length here. I want to thank the Board of Finance in particular for all of the helpful questions and feedback. And I think I'm pretty much out of things to say about this budget, but always happy to take questions.
I will just add, just to remind folks who are viewing at home, there's a few different documents that go into framing out the budget, and then two documents in particular that this board will act upon tonight and then upstairs at City Council. This first resolution item that we're on right now, and you'll see this is my administration's first year doing this, of course, but it includes a lot of what I consider strong work and collaboration between my office and both caucuses for the City Council, itemizing a lot of different priorities for this administration as well as city councilors around what we need to see in our next year's budget. It reflects a lot of what we've attempted as in my office to be transparent about around changing course on use of one-time funds, looking at issues of what tools we had available, which included increasing fees in certain cases, continuing to move forward collective goals around community safety, and then of course these core principles which sure a lot of people have memorized at this point, but it's really a true commitment around affordability, sustainability, and moving towards right-sizing our government so we can sustain it, and not price people out of Burlington. This resolution is long, but towards the end are where the actual resolved action clauses are that are sort of the policy, if you will, of this next budget. Accompanying it is item 4.2, which we'll get to in a moment, but there are some items that require, well, it's a resolution related to the tax impact that this budget requires for generating revenues, so just for a little bit of orientation there. And then what we also provided folks, it's in the packet for the board, because we did have discussions around, which seems like a very small amount of money compared to a very large budget, but an itemized list of how the $50,000 for the camping response would be spent, because that was a question that came up, as well as a budget memo from me around just larger themes and process that we use, and then looking forward steps that didn't really feel appropriate in a resolution. So those are the documents to sort of frame it out. And I guess I'll open it up to the board. There are questions on this level before we go upstairs on, at this point, we're on the resolution, or the larger resolution for fiscal year 25. Questions, comments? Thoughts, Councilor Barlow?
I have one question, and it was around the $125,000 for the advisor on community safety position. Is the $125,000, is that salary and benefits? Because in another resolved clause for the substance use policy analyst, it's explicitly stated it's for salary and benefits. So that's why I was wondering if this for both.
It is certainly the intent that that is salary and benefits for the senior advisor. And while we're on that, we're also trying to find grants. We put a request in through the Congressperson Becca Balance office for congressionally designated spending line item, which we haven't heard back yet. So we are trying to still fund that, not from general fund, but for now, we won't generally fund it. Councilor Barlow, are there any other questions or comments on the first resolution item 4? Councilor Jeffers?
Yeah, so I won't have an opportunity to speak at the regular city council meeting. I did have an opportunity to speak to you earlier today, Mayor, at the press conference you put together. I very much appreciated your invitation to myself as well as to Councilor Bergman to join you there. Really just want to reiterate a couple comments that I made there, which is I very much appreciate the work that you and your team have put into this budget. I know that it's been a lot of work over relatively a short period of time. As I mentioned before, I think maybe that's something to look into moving forward here for future administrations. The idea that July 1 is the beginning of the fiscal year and April 1 is the start of the mayor's term is a pretty tight window. But I do very much appreciate your invitation to both Democratic Caucus and the Progressive Caucus to work with you and to collaborate on this budget. I know that, speaking on behalf of the Democratic Caucus, that we presented to you some proposals and some additional investments in public safety. I acknowledge that your budget had already put really significant resources towards public safety, but we did see an opportunity to expand upon that with additional CSO officers, putting the housing administrator back in, some additional recruitment dollars. I think our work together on that, our collaboration is shining through in this budget. I want to take a minute to thank you for the opportunity to work with you on it.
Any other comments or questions before we go to a vote?
So, and I had one other comment. Actually, the question I asked earlier, and that's I just appreciated the itemization of the monies for some of the services. So I appreciate that discussion.
Absolutely. Anything else? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion on this item? It's a short one tonight. All right, Councilor Travers.
I move to recommend that the City Council approve the attached resolution, which is not a short resolution.
Very correct. That was a nice learning of,
Yes.
wow, it's multiple pages. Is there a second on the motion? Councilor Carpenter? Any further discussion on item 4.1? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Now on to our second resolution, which I mentioned before, is sort of the accompanying resolution, which addresses our tax assessments needed to fund this budget. CEO Shad, is there anything you want to say on this resolution before we open it up for discussion?
I will just say it is an interesting quirk, maybe, of our system that perhaps Joe McNeil could tell us more about, that we have these two resolutions, because once the budget resolution has been approved, we really kind of need the tax resolution to be approved, because we need your authority to assess taxes based on what we've just approved in the budget resolution. In this tax resolution, it just lays out in words everything that we put into the budget in terms of what we call our splinter taxes, all approximately 18 of them, exactly where the 80 cents of our municipal property taxes this year, exactly how those will be divvied up. And that's kind of about it, unless anyone has any questions about that.
Thank you, appreciate it. Are there any questions or comments? 4 points. That's enough awkward silence, so. Is there a motion? Council Barlow?
Move to recommend that the city council approve the attached resolution.
Thank you. Is there a second? Council Carpenter? Any further discussion before we vote? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. As long as I have the actual accurate agenda this time, that is our last item on our deliberative agenda. So if there's no further action, then I adjourn this meeting at 6:14 p.m. That might be a personal record for 12 minutes.
Yeah.
Thank you all very much. See you upstairs.